Alright, so as soon as you enter this narrow corridor, you simply want to run over to the opposite side, towards the mark on your minimap. Once you get close, however, the door ahead will lock shut, and you'll begin hearing a whooshing sound. After a moment, the statue just behind Link will crumble, and Link will roll out of the way and stare back at the other statue, which is apparently alive. Welcome to the mini-boss of this dungeon, Darkhammer. Dun dun dun. As one might guess, he'll repeatedly try to toss this ball and chain at you, and it's swooshing around and stuff, but it'll also steadily walk towards you. So the trick to beating it is to keep it near the center of the room, and then switch over to the opposite side by using your claw shot on the targets that are behind it on the ceiling. Now you can actually latch onto the ceiling anywhere though, so don't worry about being too accurate. I recommend just, latching on in general, that general location. As soon as you land on the opposite side, you want to listen for his actions because he'll usually attack just then, sending the ball and chain after you. I'm going to quickly dodge to the side at this point, and he'll pause after a moment. As soon as he attacks, he'll pause for a little bit before he starts pulling it back. I'm going to use this opportunity where he's just sitting there to run in behind it and smack its vulnerable tail. As it starts rotating the ball and chain again, you want to go ahead and get out of the way before it hits you. And that's pretty much all there is to this battle. It can be a bit tricky, especially if you wait a long time, but in general, as long as you keep switching sides repeatedly, Darkhammer will keep attacking as soon as the ball and chain is spinning fast enough. He'll just launch it off after you. I don't understand why this guy can't suddenly kick you or smack you when you're standing right next to him. He's got a giant gauntleted fist. Its arm is almost the size of your torso. Couldn't it just totally beat you up? After about 12 hits, Darkhammer will fall to the ground and burst away like all the other mini-bosses in the game. After a fancy flourish of the blade by Link, you'll then see that its weapon is actually still on the ground. I suppose that's more realistic than most enemies in the game, huh? Taking their weapons with them into the great beyond once they explode. Both the doors will then open and we'll be able to continue on. Just be sure to grab the dungeon item, the ball and chain. You can pull it out and walk around very slowly and swing it over your head, and enemies that are nearby will get smacked at it if they're too close to you, similar to Darkhammer himself. And also, you can use it to attack at range. Although it's slow, this thing packs quite a punch, and one of its more notable uses comes into play here and just ahead. Enter the next door, and to the north, you want to use the ball and chain to break through the ice barrier. Open the large chest behind it to get the Ordon goat cheese? Something is seriously wrong here. Midna will then appear and express her frustration, exclaiming that it's food again. Now before leaving, there's actually one more thing we can do in this room. You can also use the ball and chain to smack all kinds of funny things, such as the statues that are in this room. So smack the one over here that's closest to the door to leave this room, and it will unveil a new enemy here that's called an ice bubble. These frosty varieties of the skull enemies we've encountered before will freeze you on contact, so it's generally best avoided. They're very similar to the ice keys we've already fought. Once you defeated it, it'll drop an orange rupee, which is worth 100, so some free cash. That's all we had to do here, so go ahead and return to the courtyard, and now we have a bunch of cool stuff that is now available to us now that we have the ball and chain. So back out here, there's actually a small chest we can grab real quick. This is totally optional, so you can skip over this if you don't want to do it. Go ahead and climb back through the window thing off to the left of this area and enter the door back here. So now that we're back in this room, you can actually see there's a chest on our mini-map that I mentioned earlier, and I said we could not snag it before. But now that we have the ball and chain, we can break through the icy barrier that is blocking it. As soon as you enter the room, you'll see some of those mini Freezards have actually come back to haunt you. And the ball and chain actually does wonders against them and will kill them in a single hit to boot, so it's really awesome. It will kill them instantaneously. After smacking them both up, go ahead and try out the ball and chain on the barrier to unveil a small chest. Open it up to get a red rupee, which is worth 20. Ah, doesn't that feel good? With that in hand, you want to go ahead and return to the courtyard. We have a couple more things we can do now that we have the ball and chain. Alright, as long as we're in the area and we're making our way towards this direction, let's go ahead and make some shortcuts as long as we're in this area. You want to go ahead and return to the center platform here with the cannon, and then you can use the ball and chain to break through the icy barriers to either side of it. It's nice to do it from this side so that you don't have to worry about the white wolfos if you're coming from the other direction. And once you've destroyed a few of them, you want to go ahead and transform into a wolf and dash through the deep snow so that you don't have to inch through it like a snail, assuming you're in your alien form. Once you get over the door, though, you do want to transform so that you can go through the door, and then you'll see that there's actually an icy barrier on our left that we couldn't do anything about before. Now that we have the ball and chain, you can break through it and can go on through the door. This actually takes us back to the block room, and there's actually more we can do in this room now that we have the ball and chain. But right now, that puzzle doesn't really do anything for us at the moment. We actually will have to come back to this room later to do that. So just ignore that for now and head back to the kitchen where we can show Yeta our newest nutritional object. So as you talk to him, he'll once again scratch his beard and mutter about the soup needing a little more something. It needs some more kick. So once again, he'll sniff and realize that you have the cheese. Oh my goodness! So after smacking you down, he'll take it from you and add it into the soup. I love how he just kind of tosses it in and doesn't even stir it or anything. And then he's like, it'll make some pretty good gourmet soup pretty soon. So I love how he doesn't have to do anything to it. I wish making soup were that easy, huh? So anyways, you can run around and try it out if you like. I still have some of the old good soup in my bottle, so that restores 4 hearts. I'm going to use that real quick. And that heals me back all the damage I took from Darkhammer, the mini-boss. And now that you have the empty bottle, you can get some superb soup. Yay! The stuff smells all cheesy now, and it restores up to 8 hearts. Not too shabby, Anyways, with that, you want to go ahead and return to the cozy area and speak with Yeta. The poor thing doesn't remember where the key went. I'm sure Link is about ready to start shaking her, though. She claims that she remembers again, so she says that they put the key in the room next to the bedroom itself so that they wouldn't forget where it was. Didn't work out so well, did it? It's actually on the 2nd floor, so and we actually haven't been up to the 2nd floor at all yet. Now that we have the ball and chain, a whole bunch of new areas are going to open up to us. So Yeta will send us off once again through the final door that she unlocks for us. Woohoo! In this new room, you'll see a Freezard that's in a cage or something off to the right. Maybe it's like a pet. Just ignore it for now and enter the door on your left. As soon as you pop out here, you'll want to push the block that is straight ahead, which will make it snap into a hole just ahead that will give us a shortcut back to the courtyard. Yays! Now our goal here is to grab one of the cannonballs, and if for some strange reason you put them all in the courtyard, you'll have to use the nearby mechanism to bring them all back over to this side. Or at least one of them. Now you can find all of the cannonballs by checking out the red dots on your mini-map. So the compass will show you the current locations of all the cannonballs. You want to take one of them over to the contraption near the door that we just came from, and use it to get the cannonball into this room with the Freezard. You just want to use the contraption on this side, as will bring the cannonball through the wall. Then once over here, you want to go ahead and put the cannonball down, and use the ball and chain to break through the giant chunk of ice. So run forward and you'll see a short cinema of the Freezard who is blowing ice constantly back and forth. This is kind of odd because most Freezards they blow ice for a little bit and then they stop to take a breath or take a break or whatever. This one's kind of blowing it back and forth, kind of like an oscillating fan. I don't know what the deal is with that. Luckily, there's an opening about halfway up into the cage, so you want to Z-target the Freezard and circle around, and then in the space, after its frosty breath, you want to go ahead and use your ball and chain to show it some love. It'll take 2 hits, so be quick. Once you've done that, you want to go ahead and go higher to find yet another Freezard. This one's a bit trickier because its opening is near the top, but it's defeated the same way, so you just want to be really careful, wait for the icy breath to start going back up again, and then go sneak past up there. So go ahead and defeat it the same way you did the other one, and once that's taken care of, you want to run all the way back down and grab the cannonball. Now, it is worth mentioning that it is possible to go all the way up to the top without killing the Freezards. You'll have to sacrifice yourself and such. You toss the cannonball right before you get frozen, then you get frozen yourself, and then as soon as you break out, you pick up the cannonball before it can freeze you again. And then before the cannonball rolls down too far, because this whole thing is slanted and everything. And then you continue on upwards. I would recommend against doing it that way unless you really like a challenge. I would just recommend actually killing the Freezards instead. The first time I played this, I didn't actually know you could kill them that way. At the top, you'll find an ice barrier that is just begging to be broken up, but just watch out, there are ice keys that are on the other side of the wall that apparently can see right through it and fly through it as well. Kind of spooky, that maybe they're ghosts. You want to go ahead and grab the cannon by one of the handles on either side of it, and then turn it so that it's facing towards the center of the room. You want to pick up the cannonball that we snagged earlier and go ahead and place it within the cannon. Now we actually can't do anything with this cannon at the moment. As you'll see, it actually totally leads to a dead end. If you were to shoot the cannonball right now, it would make it start rolling down and it would fall down there. So we will be able to do this later. This is actually part of a later puzzle. I was just doing that because we were in the area and everything, but I will mention it again later when we get to that part as well. Go ahead and enter the next doorway that is to the north, and in this room you'll immediately find a Chilphos off to the right. You want to go ahead and use sword techniques such as the Helm Splitter to defeat it quickly, or you can simply use the ball and chain if you're quick enough. Go ahead and break the ice chunk off to your left to reveal a target as long as you're at it. And next you want to go ahead and stand close to the edge and Z-target the chandelier thing in the center. And for some reason this is like a square shape and is hanging by chains. Odd. So it makes it a convenient platform. You want to use the ball and chain to make it swing back and forth in order to access the next platform. Just watch out as soon as you get across the way though, there's an ice key that is hanging out by the ceiling, which will immediately come after you. I recommend using your shield first and then smacking it up with your sword. Open the large chest to get a small key, and with that in hand, turn around and use the claw shot on the target that we unveiled earlier. Alternatively, you could, of course, use the platform to get back. And here I kept moving at the last second, so I kept missing the target over and over again. Darn it all. Once you make it back to this side, you want to go ahead and go through the door. And in this room, you'll notice that there's a target that is on the southern wall very suspiciously. Like, why is it there? So if you look at the floor right here, you'll see that it looks odd and uneven. So because it's suspicious, go ahead and place a bomb here, and it'll blow a hole in the floor. You want to drop down to access this hidden area that is actually connected to the entrance room. So you may have seen it before and been like, how the heck do I get over there? So anyways, open the large chest that is found here to find the first out of 2 pieces of heart that are found within this dungeon. If you've been following the walkthrough thus far, this should be your 31st piece of heart in total. With that, you want to go ahead and turn around and use the target to get back up to the second floor. Enter the locked door to the west, which leads back to the entrance room, but this time on the second story. So we'll be able to access some new areas. That's all the time I have for this video, folks. Join me for the next one, and we will continue our way through the Snowpeak ruins.